In our last episode, we left you at the Bass Harbor Lighthouse. Here is the view from the water. In this episode, we explore Southwest Harbor, Acadia National Park, meet with friends from home as we sail all the way down east to Rhode Island, experiencing the true beauty and wilderness of Maine. We have a box of wine. We're good for like a week.
That's all you need.
Yeah. So we're provisioned for the week. We're heading out and we're headed east. Hopefully make our way down east as we go here. But we'll fill you in when we stop. We woke up at the Hinckley Boat Yard in Southwest Harbor, Maine, to a beautiful sunrise. Today, we were going to meet our friends from back home, Thomas and Kristen, fellow Melges 24 sailors, to do some hiking in Acadia National Park. Let's leave the fat guy behind with the camera to catch up. This wasn't just your average hike. This was the Precipice Trail, Acadia National Park's hardest hike. It takes you to the top of Champlain Mountain, which is the 6th tallest peak in Acadia National Park. It comprises almost 850 vertical feet of sheer rock face. Don't like that sound.
After a few hours of climbing and bouldering, we made it to the top of the Precipice Trail. With nearly 360 views, we could see all the way down to the sapphire blue water of Booth Bay. We had a little bit of fun, taking some photos and hanging out before it was time to head back down the mountain. Once finished with our hike, we grabbed some pizza and a few beers, and some fresh veggies from Thomas and Kristen's garden before heading back to Hinckley on Southwest Harbor.
Which way should I go to the lobster pot? Where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
Swing in a little bit.
Yeah, just follow. So there's a little line of lobster pots. Follow right along the right side of this line of lobster pots.
Okay.
The next day we sailed up the only fjord on the east coast of the United States, called Sone Sound.
Okay, stay.
We planned to stay there for only one night before we had to pick up our friends back in Southwest Harbor. This fjord was formed by glaciers centuries ago, and because of its steep hills and cliffs on both sides, it makes for a natural hurricane hole with breathtaking views. After a peaceful night at anchor, we headed back to Southwest Harbor to pick up our friends from Ohio to take them further down east. Now enjoy some footage of our motor sail through Sone Sound.
Go way left. Yeah, stay on this lane. No, go forward. Here we've got our buddy Nate Dewar, fellow Melges 24 guy, unwrapping our brand new Ruca anchor.
Rocking the shine.
Shackle? Is there? Ready? That almost seems like a perfect fit.
I don't think I think the bow went down 2 inches.
That sticks out a ways. We should put the, that's the new kite attachment point, I think. Peter perfect bowsprit.
It is much bigger than I
Get him with the anchor on.
thought it was going to look. The anchor. Look at the size of that one.
I know.
That's when you know she's the one.
That was the test.
Wow. Thank you, guys.
Now we gotta test it out.
Now we gotta go test it. Our friends from Ohio, and also Melges 24 sailors, Nate and Diane, helped us install our Ruca anchor. And after that, we headed off to finally get where we wanted to really go, down east and into the wilderness of Rhode Island.
Edit that comment out.
No, we'll keep that in. That's funny. So you can't grind? Grind!
He's got a yellow buoy on the top with like black stripes. That means that those are his buoys.
Snagged our first lobster pot, and we got rid of it. We used a boat hook. We slowed the boat down. We used a boat hook and we pushed it down off of the
I don't know if it was on the keel or the rudder. It might have been on the keel and never made it between because it just popped out of there somehow. I think it kind of snagged on somebody else's lobster pot too. There was like a purr, and then it was toom toom. So sorry, Mr. Lobsterman, but the good part is we did not cut your line. We were able to poke it off. The bad part for you is that lobster pot's probably 200 yards or 300 yards down the bay. So good luck finding it.
After 2 short days of sailing, we finally arrived in Rhode Island, but not before we stopped off in a quaint little fishing town called Bunkers Harbor, where we had a phenomenal lobster dinner the evening before. The sail up was very foggy and very rainy. We had to dodge lobster pots constantly. Sometimes we couldn't see them until they were just a few feet away. When we arrived, the rain was still with us.
Dolphins, over here, dolphins. Right there.
The rain was welcome as the boat needed a wash of all the salt from the trip up. We put up the bimini, hung out underneath, and had a really wonderful evening, having a little bit of wine and cheese and catching up with friends. Tomorrow it would be off to explore what we have been dreaming of for so long, the wilderness of Rhode Island and the mile-long sandy beach. We decided we wanted a little bit more of a challenge when entering Rhode Island Harbor, so we decided to go through the thoroughfare on the island, which is very narrow and can be quite shallow and rocky at times. So we sent Nate ahead in the dinghy to scout it out and made our way slowly between the rocks and trees.
Yeah, come in.
We made it safely into the inner harbor, dropped our brand new Rockna anchor, set it solid, and then took the dinghy in to go explore the beach.
Happy dog? Huh?
Rhode Island itself is privately owned, and we can't go explore it, But there's several islands around that form a crescent-shaped inner harbor. Those islands are uninhabited, and we were welcome to go explore them. Kate jumped on the paddleboard, Nate and Diane took the kayak, and I followed along with Roxy in the inflatable. The wind really picked up as we were exploring the islands, so we needed a motor to get back. But luckily we had the dinghy, we connected everybody, put everyone on board, and dragged everyone back home to the boat. We spent a beautiful evening just enjoying the stars and the sky before we have to head back to civilization. It was really hard to say goodbye to the mile-long white sand beach that just seemed endless when the tide went out. But all good things have to come to an end, and Nate and Diane both had to return to work, so we had a deadline to get them back to their car. Once again, we set the sails and head out to sea. Nate and Diane both being racing sailors as well, we could trim the boat pretty well, and before you knew it, we were making really good VMG upwind towards our destination in Southwest Harbor.